So I'm here with William Rodriguez, and you were a janitor in the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001, and you were involved in saving many lives. Can you tell us about that? Can you show us the key?
Hello, I worked in the building for 20 years. 9/11 was a definite moment in my life because it changed me forever. I came into work late. I was supposed to be there at 8 o'clock. I got there at 8:30. I went straight down to the basement. There were 6 up levels of basement. Our office was located on the B1 level, the basement number 1. While I was there talking to my supervisor and 14 new employees, at 8:46 we hear bah! An explosion so powerful that pushed us upwards. All the walls cracked, the false ceiling fell on top of us, the sprinkler system got activated, water started going everywhere, everybody screaming because of the disorientation, because nobody knew what was happening. And at the very first moment that I hear that, I thought that one of the generators blew out on the B2 level because it pushed us upwards. And when I went to mention it 6 to 7 seconds after, I hear bah! On the top of the building, 2 different events. And I went to tell everybody, we gotta get out of here. My supervisor, Anthony Saltalamacchia, said it's a bomb, because we didn't have windows, we're on a basement. And nobody knew what to do. At the same moment, I looked through the hallway that went directly to the office, and what do I see? A man, a black guy, with his hand extended, screaming, explosion, explosion, explosion. And his hand had what appears to be clothing hanging from the top of the fingertips. As he got closer, we started screaming and crying because we realized it was his skin. He got his skin pulled from under his armpits on both arms, and he peeled off like when you take off a glove, and it was hanging on top of the fingertips. And at that very moment, I said, what happened? And he turned his face, and all this was hanging on his face. The name Felipe David was his name, a guy from Honduras, which I didn't know. Nobody wanted to touch him because this was in 2001. Remember that in 2001 we had that A scare that no touching anybody with blood because you didn't know what to happen. And when I saw that, I started screaming, help me, help me. Nobody wanted to help. So I went into the office and I took a box of rags because it was a cleaning company, and I started putting it around him. I said, don't move, I'm gonna call the medical emergency unit that is located on the other tower because they connected through the basement. And I said, I'm gonna call them and you're gonna get help right away. When I went inside to touch the phone, bah! Another explosion. And it was so powerful that the floor started to vibrate and everybody ran inside the offices under the door thinking that it was an earthquake. And at that very moment, I said, no, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here. And nobody wanted to touch the poor man. So I took the poor man, I put it on my shoulder, and I started leaving the area because I knew the way to get out because I worked in the building for 20 years. And these were new employees. So I started leading these people out of the building. When we get outside on Vesey Street, I see an ambulance. I stop the ambulance. I put the man inside the ambulance. And what do I hear? Everybody screaming on the street, looking up with their mouth open. And so I turn around and I hear a plane hit the building, a plane hit the building on the radio of the security guard that let trucks go inside the building. So I turn around, what do I see? I saw the hole, I saw the fire, I saw the smoke, but the smoke was so dense that it covered the top of the antenna of the North Tower. When I don't see the top of the antenna, I start screaming, we gotta go back, we gotta go back. Nobody wanted to go back because they already saved themselves. And my supervisor, no, Willie, just stay here. I said, no, we gotta go back. Our friends are there. And I met the people from Windows of the World, the restaurant that was located on the 106th and the 107th floor. And I said, we gotta go back, we gotta help them. And I knew at that very moment that I was basically spared my life because if I got there at 8 o'clock, I always started from the top of the building working down, cleaning the stairwells. And I always went to Windows of the World because they gave me the breakfast for free. When they give you something for free, you're gonna be there. So I was there every morning. This day I was late. And I knew that my friends were stuck in there. So I started screaming, we gotta go back, we gotta go back. Nobody wanted to go back. So I went by myself. I went straight to the South Tower through the basement, through the OCC. OCC was the Operation Control Center, where they actually managed all the emergencies. It was supposed to be manned 24 hours a day. When I went there, there was nobody there. Everybody ran away. So I'm hitting with the radio, help, help, nobody's there. I turn around, I see a guy coming from the basement of the South Tower. The South Tower has not been hit yet. and the name is Jimmy Barrett. I said, Jimmy, what are you doing here? You gotta get out. He didn't know. So that gives you an indication how many people probably died on the South Tower without even knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
And I said, you gotta get out. I told him what happened. And when I turned around, between the two towers, there was an employee entrance for the Marriott Hotel. And there was a security guard that signed the people in. This lady is trembling, shaking. And I said, what are you doing here? You gotta get out. And she said, I heard everything, but I cannot leave. I said, why? Because I am a new employee and I don't want to get fired. False sense of security, no? Because we didn't know what was happening. So I took her and I grabbed her and I took her outside the building through the basement with Jimmy, and then I went back running. Everybody, don't go back, don't go back. We went to the North Tower, and on the North Tower, Jimmy was with me. We found a guy from the recycling company who said, I hear screams, I hear screams. But Caleb, what we heard was the sprinkler system. It was activated everywhere, and all you could hear was shh. So I said, I don't hear anything. So I put my ear in one of the freight elevators, and what do I hear? Two people screaming, help, help, we're gonna drown, we're gonna drown. And I just couldn't understand, why would they drown? They were inside the elevator, a freight elevator, and the elevator, instead of going up, went down and got stuck between the B2 level and the B3 level. All the water was going in, and they couldn't come out. They got stuck in there because they lost power. So I found a pipe, I opened the doors opened this way. When I opened when the door hit the bottom, all the water that was on my side went rushing in. When I looked down, what do I see? These two people, because it didn't have a roof, with water up to their bellies, screaming, help, 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 help. And at that moment I said, God, please help me. And then I look around and I found a ladder. And I took the ladder and I dropped it in, and I went in, I opened the gate on the top of the elevator, got them both out. One name was Salvatore Giambanco, a painter for the Port Authority, and the other, a guy that went to do a delivery. Got them out of the building, put them in an ambulance, and went back the third time. When I went back the third time, I found a police officer who said, Willie, do you have the key? He meant, did I have the master key? The World Trade Center had 5 master keys. The first 4 were held by the administrators of the building, who were trained on egress, escape, first aid, the whole process of evacuation. They were the one trained to help people, and they ran away. And I had the 5th key. I was a janitor, but I had that key, and I said, yes, I have the key, and the police knew that I had that key. So we went to the lobby, and the police officer said to the fireman there, he said, follow him, he knows very well the building, and he has the master key. And why was that key so important? Because that key, when the plane hit, this is the key, they call it the key of hope. When the plane hit the building was designed to oscillate because of the wind factor, but it oscillated so much, Caleb, that the door frames dislocated and the doors got locked in. So, with the key, we were open and forced the doors open. So I started opening doors and letting people out on the offices as well, because it's open everything. And as I do that, the firemen went and did their job as a crew, and we kept going up to the moment that I found myself 2 and 3 floors above the firemen letting people out. And I was so angry because I didn't understand. I said, why are these people is not following me? I didn't understand that I didn't have any equipment in my bag. The firemen have between 40 and 60 kilos in their bag, yeah. And they're going up. Plus they had the uniform and things like that. And I was so angry, I didn't understand it. And I remember that somebody said, there's a man on a wheelchair on the 27th floor who's having an asthma attack. He cannot breathe. So I went to the firemen, and they told me, don't worry, we'll make it there. We made it to the 27th floor, and when I opened the door on the 27th floor, the image was unforgettable. This unit of heroes, my heroes, the firemen, they all went in and they collapsed on the corridor because they didn't have any more strength. You know what is going up 27 floors with all that equipment? They just collapsed. And I remember the police officer said, Willie, do you know this office? He said, yes, where can I get water? He said, well, on the other side, there's the vending machines for the bottled water. And he said, let's go. I said, I don't have no money. So we go over there, and the police officer with the boot started breaking the glass. I was, oh my God, he's gonna blame me. I'm the Puerto Rican. He's gonna rape me. So I gotta get out of here. He said, no, please help me. And we started looking for bottled water, and we gave it to the police officer. To the firemen. And at that moment, I called my mother because there was still phone service in the office. And then I continued by myself because these people were there, collapsed. So I continued opening doors until the moment I get to the 33rd floor. I get to the 33rd floor, I hear strange sounds on the 34th floor. Above me, I bypass that floor. I didn't want to open the door, and I continue getting people out to the 39th floor. When I get to the 39th floor, the police officer with the fire chiefs, because they were wearing white shirts, they said the whole process of evacuation, what we're going to do, and then, bah! We hear another explosion, huge, on the other tower. Could have been the heat of the plane. I have no idea what it was. And then at that moment, we hear pa 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 inside our building. And I said, what happened? He said, we lost 65, meaning the 65th floor collapsed internally to the 44th floor, and I was on the 39th floor. So I go crazy, we gotta go up. And the police officer said, no, you've done enough, and you don't get paid for this. You're my responsibility as a citizen. You gotta get out and leave. I said, no, I'm gonna continue going up. He said, better if you give me a hand with the man on the wheelchair on the 27th floor. So I go to the 27th floor. I said, I will help, but I'm gonna come back. So I got the man on the wheelchair named Ed Payet, and we start going down the stairwell. And as we go down, the other building collapses, and it creates a whole movement in our building. We lost our foot on the stair, and we almost fell down the stairwells. But we made it all the way down to the lobby. When we make it to the lobby, it was all destruction because the other tower already collapsed. And I look all the destruction on the lobby, and one of the firemen on the lobby said, get the ambulance ready, while they're giving first aid to the poor man that was on the wheelchair. As they doing that, I go to the front of the building facing West Side Highway. And as I go to the revolving doors, there was no doors. Everything was destroyed. As I get to the middle one, what do I see? That the police is across the street. The area is cordoned out with a yellow tape that said crime scene, do not pass. And they see me and they start screaming, don't look back, don't look back, don't look back. And the first thing I do is look back. And I saw all the bodies of the people that jumped out of the building. I didn't know that the people were throwing themselves through the windows, and I saw bodies everywhere. And I started screaming, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And all of a sudden I hear, run, run, run. And the building started to shake, and it started to fall. And the only thing in front of me was a fire truck. I went right under the fire truck, and the building collapsed right on top of me. And I was buried alive, and then it took hours for them to find me. And then I was saved hours after, and once I was saved from under the rubble, a miracle because I didn't break a bone. And I stayed within the ground zero looking for other people until the end of the day.
Your testimony before the 9/11 Commission was not public.
No.
Was about that.
No. I testified for the 9/11 Commission, and everybody knew my story because I was taken to the White House, I was wine and dine, I was put on, imagine, every possible documentary. And when I talk about the explosions in the building, that could have been anything. Could have been anything, but they did not investigate it. It created the whole conspiracy theory of the World Trade Center, and nothing that I have that I agree with it. But it created a whole sense of insecurity because when the 9/11 Commission report came out, my testimony was eliminated. It didn't show anything. And that's when people started really questioning the 9/11 report.
The fact that you talked about explosions
in the building. Yeah.
and then your testimony was omitted from the report.
Yeah, totally omitted, yes. And of course, the attacks started at that moment. They started doing a whole propaganda against my story, and but it's what I went through. And I gave the 9/11 Commission a list of witnesses that they were never called, and again, I didn't have any good thing to say about the 9/11 Commission because I went through it.